Hello and welcome to Get Great at Maths. Today we're going to look at the GCSE Mathematics OCR J560 exam paper from the June 2022 series, the higher tier paper 4, and this is a calculated paper and we're going to be looking at question 15 today. Now question 15 is to do with algebraic proof. And this question is quite a tricky question because they expect you to use algebra on the question. And if you don't use any algebra, then you can't get the answer correct or any method marks. So in the question, it does say use algebra. Okay, so this means we're either using X's, N's, M's, different letters to prove that we have got an odd number multiplied by a different odd number always gives an answer that is an odd number. So there's lots of key terms in here and lots of odd numbers and even numbers. Now, to make a number even, if I multiply any number by 2, that will always give me an even number. Okay, so any number I take, so say n is that any number I've got, if I multiply it by 2, I've always got an even number. Now, to make this even number odd, if I subtract 1 from that number, it will make it odd. I could have also added 1 to the number and it would have also been odd as well. It didn't matter whether I added 1 or subtracted 1 from that number, it would still be odd. I've chosen to subtract 1. Now I'm going to pick another odd number. So a different odd number, I'm going to choose a different letter, so 2m take away 1. It doesn't matter what letters you use, you could have used 2x minus 1 and 2y minus 1, all letters of your choosing. Now it says that the two odd numbers are multiplied. So I'm going to put these two numbers next to each other and that would have given you 1 mark. So these two odd numbers here next to each other that I'm going to multiply gives me 1 mark. Now to multiply these numbers, I'm going to multiply each of the terms together. So I'm going to start with the first terms and the 2n times the 2m is going to give me 4nm. Then I've got to multiply the 2n by the negative 1, which gives me minus 2n. Then I've got negative 1 times 2m, which is negative 2m. And then I've got negative 1 times negative 1, which is plus 1, which gives me 1 mark. I now need to look at this answer, and I've got to try and work out why this answer is an odd number. Okay, because it says if you multiply an odd number multiplied by a different odd number, the answer is always odd. How do we know this expression is always odd? So we know the definition of an odd number is 2 times any number, and if I take away 1 or add 1 to that number, the answer will be odd. So the key bit is it's 2 lots of n first. Now in this expression here, the first 3 terms, so the 4nm, the minus 2n, and the minus 2m are all even. So I could take a factor of 2 outside the front. So 2 times by the 2nm gives me the 4nm. The 2 times the minus n gives me the minus 2n, and the 2 times the minus m gives me minus 2m. So I have factorised this into one bracket. Now I have got 2 times by a number in terms of m and n. We don't know what this number is, but it doesn't really matter what that number is that I've just underlined, because 2 times any single number will always be an even number. So I have got an even number and then I'm adding 1 to it. Now we said earlier, to get an odd number, you start with an even number and you subtract 1 from it, or you start with an odd number and you add 1 to it, sorry, an even number and you add 1 to it and it will make it odd. So therefore my even number plus 1 will be an odd number, therefore we've proved it, which is worth 1 mark. That is where the 4 marks are coming from. Now the mark scheme here shows that you've got M1 for getting the 2 brackets. It says any correct method. It said accept any letters, so it doesn't matter which letters you use. Okay. It does say allow poor use of brackets. So for example, if you wrote 2m plus 1 and 2m plus 1 and you didn't put any brackets in there, they will allow that for a mark if the terms are correct. Then you get 2 marks for doing the expanding and then factorising to make sure that we've got a full expression, and then factorising to show that we have got an even number, and which makes it an odd number. And then the final answer mark comes from explaining what is going on. So you need a statement showing that the expression is odd. E.g., the first 3 terms are even, you add 1 to it, it gives you an odd number. That will give you the 4 marks on this question. Over on the right hand side, it does give any extra information to give you some extra marks in case you didn't do it the method stated, and you can have a look through. It does say SC1 marks for 2n plus 1, etc. seen, or for the correct expansion of any of the 2 brackets, including x times x plus 1. So that could give you a 1 mark down here at the bottom. Thanks for listening. This was another video done by Get Great at Maths. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to watch more. Thanks.